Are you tired of trying to pick individual stocks, stressed about timing of the market, or just do not have enough time to research hundreds of companies for the investing? You are at the right place. Today, I'm going to share 5 incredible ETFs which can help you to build your portfolio on a long term without having a headache of active investing. So let's get started. First, let me explain what is ETF. ETF stands for Exchange Traded Fund. Think of it as a big basket which contains hundreds of companies instead of individual stocks. You are buying slice of the whole stock market when you buy a ETF. This gives you instant diversification. So if any company has a bad day or bad result, it won't ruin your complete portfolio. It has a very minimal effect on your portfolio when you are invested into the ETF instead of individual stocks. Plus, ETFs are just traded same as the stocks, so you can simply buy it and sell it during the market hours through your stock brokerage. Now, why are ETFs are perfect for the stress-free investing? Number 1, no research required. You do not need to analyze financial statements, following earning calls, or worry about individual companies' drama. Number 2, built-in diversification. You are automatically spreading your risk across hundreds of companies through the ETF. Number 3, professional management at a fraction of the cost. These funds are managed by the experts but with expense ratio often under 0.1%. And last, time in the market always beats timing in the market. With ETFs, you can invest regularly and let compound growth do the heavy lifting over the decades. Alright, let's get to the good stuff. Here are the top 5 ETFs for the long-term growth that I will be discussing today. First, VOO, Vanguard S&P 500 ETF. Second, VTI, Vanguard Total Stock Market ETF. Third is VUG, Vanguard Growth ETF. Fourth is SCHD, it's a Shehab US Dividend Equity ETF. And the last is VXUS, it's a Vanguard Total International Stock ETF. Now let's break it down, all of these individual ETFs one by one. Let's start with VOO, Vanguard S&P 500 ETF. This is one of the most popular ETF into the market, and that's for the good reason. When you purchase VOO, you own top 500 US companies into your portfolio. Think like Nvidia, Amazon, Apple, Google, and Tesla. Expense ratio of this ETF is only 0.03%, meaning when you invest $1,000 into the VOO, you only pay 30 cents to manage these funds by the professionals. If I talk about performance, historically S&P 500 has returned 10% annual growth over the decade, and VOO closely follow that. This is your core holding. If you are a long-term believer into the America's biggest companies, you would like to invest into the VOO. It is reliable and has a proven track record over the decades. Next one is VTI, Vanguard Total Index ETF. Unlike VOO, which only covers top 500 companies in US, VTI track the entire US stock markets. So when you purchase a VTI, you are purchasing slice of 4,000 plus companies, which might be a small, medium or large cap stocks. Same as VOO, the expense ratio of VTI is also 0.03%, which is a dirt cheap. If you want to have an exposure of the entire US stock market, and if you believe that some of the new growing companies can outperform the growth of the current biggest companies into the US, this is the perfect ETF for you. Think of it like this way: VOO is like owning a biggest neighborhood into the city, while VTI is owning the entire city. On a number 3, I will be talking about VUG, Vanguard Growth ETF. This ETF focus on only growth companies against the all over market. Companies which are expected to grow their earning more exponentially compared to the overall market. Expense ratio of VUG is 0.04%, slightly higher than VOO or VTI, but still it's very cheap compared to the other mutual funds available into the market, whose expense ratio is usually 1 to 1.5%. Since VUG tracks only the growth companies, you will get the higher returns on a longer time period, but at the same time, you will experience high volatility. So this ETF is good for a young investors who has a longer time horizon ahead of us and can handle a little volatility during the journey. Number 4 on our list is Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF, which stands for SCHD. This ETF tracks the companies which are paying a very good dividend and also continuously growing their dividend for the investors. Expense ratio of this ETF is 0.06% and current yield is 3 to 4%. This ETF doesn't just pick any dividend stocks, it screens the companies which has a good track record of paying a continuous dividend and also growing their dividend over the time. Investors who wants to have some income from their current investment but at the same time would like to grow their portfolio over the time, this ETF is perfect for those. If you are on your retirement age and do not want to have a much volatility, I would suggest to invest into the SCHD, which will gives you a continuous dividend income as well as the stable growth. SCHD proves you that you do not need to choose between growth and the income. You can keep both. Last one into the list is VXUS, which is Vanguard Total International Stock ETF. Here is why international exposure is important. Currently, US stock market represents 60% of the global capitalization. VXUS gives you the exposure of remaining 40%. It covers all the developed markets like the Europe, Canada and Japan, and also the emerging markets like China and India. Expense ratio of this ETF is 0.08%, meaning every $1,000 you invest into this ETF, you will be paying 80 cents as a management fee. Different regions often outperform at a different time. When US market struggles, international market might thrive. It is about not to put all of your eggs into the one country's basket. Anyone building a true diversified global exposure portfolio, this is the perfect ETF for them. It is recommended to have a 20 to 40% exposure to the global market outside the US. Now, if you come this long and have a confusion in which ETF you should invest, let me suggest the two ETFs combinations which I believe would work out the best. First suggestion is 3 fund balance portfolio, where you would invest 50% in VOO, which gives you an exposure to top 500 companies into the US, 20% into the VXUS, which gives you the exposure to the international market, and the last 30% into the SCHD, which will give you the stable growth and the dividend. For the investor who has a longer time horizon ahead of them, they should go for growth focused portfolio. It covers the 4 different ETFs. 40% into the VTI to have a total market exposure, 25% into the VUG for the growth, 20% into the VXUS for the international exposure, and 15% into the SCHD for the stability and the dividend. Remember, these are just the example. You can always make a different combination based on your situation, age, and amount of the fund that you are planning to invest. I hope the information that I have shared today will be valuable and help you to start your investing journey. It gives you the confidence to put up a first dollar into the stock market. If that's the case, please like this video, share with your friends, and subscribe my channel for more such videos on stock market and the financial education. I will see you into the next video. Until that time, goodbye.